A blue whale can open its mouth and take in a gulp of water so big it could fill a small house. In one single gulp. That is not a joke. Scientists have measured this, and the number is close to 20,000 gallons of water in just one bite. Think about that for a second. A human mouth can hold maybe half a cup of water. A blue whale can take in enough water to fill a swimming pool all at once in just a few seconds. How does an animal's body even do that? Let's slow down and look at how this actually works, because it is not magic. It is one of the strangest and smartest body tricks in the whole ocean. First, you need to know what a blue whale is actually eating. It is not eating fish, and it is not eating seals. A blue whale eats tiny shrimp-like animals called krill. Each piece of krill is smaller than your finger. One single krill has almost no food value at all. So how does a whale this huge stay alive on food this small? The answer is simple. It eats a huge number of them at the exact same time. A big blue whale can eat around 4 tons of krill in a single day. That is the weight of a small truck made up of millions and millions of tiny little animals. To eat that much food made of such tiny pieces, the whale needs a totally different way of eating than almost any other animal on Earth. This is where the giant gulp comes in. When a blue whale finds a big cloud of krill in the water, it swims toward it fast, then opens its mouth wide. Really wide. Its jaw can open almost as wide as it is long. As the mouth opens, the skin under the whale's chin starts to stretch out, almost like a balloon filling up with air. This skin is not smooth like the rest of the whale's body. It is covered in long folds, like the folds on an accordion. These folds let the throat stretch out much bigger than you would ever expect just by looking at the whale from the outside. As the mouth opens and the throat stretches, a huge wall of water rushes in along with all the krill inside it. In just a few seconds, the whale's throat can blow up in size like a giant bag filling with water. This is the moment that creates that house-sized gulp. The whale is not swallowing all of this water. It is just holding it for a moment inside that huge, stretchy pouch under its chin. Now, here is the clever part. The whale does not want the water. It only wants the krill. So once that giant gulp of water is inside its mouth, the whale slowly pushes the water back out, using its huge tongue to push against the stretched skin like pushing water out of a giant sponge. But before that water leaves, it has to pass through something special. Instead of teeth, a blue whale has long, thin plates hanging down from its upper jaw called baleen. These plates work like a very fine strainer, almost like a big comb. The water slips out easily through the tiny gaps in the baleen, but the krill are too big to fit through. They get trapped inside the whale's mouth, sitting right on top of the baleen, while the used water pours back out into the ocean. Once the water is gone and the krill are left behind, the whale uses its tongue to scrape all that trapped krill off the baleen and swallow it in one big mouthful. All of that, from the giant open mouth rush of water to pushing the water back out to swallowing the krill, happens in less than 1 minute. Then the whale turns around and does the exact same thing again, sometimes hundreds of times in a single day. This whole system only works because of how the whale's body is built. That stretchy folded skin under the chin is not just loose skin. It is actually made of a special stretchy kind of tissue that can expand a huge amount and then snap back down to its normal size afterward, over and over, without ever getting damaged. Very few animals in the world have skin built to stretch and shrink like this again and again, thousands of times over a whale's life. Not every whale eats this exact way, and looking at the differences helps show just how special the blue whale's method really is. Some whales, like the sperm whale, hunt one big animal at a time, like a giant squid, deep down in the dark water. Other whales, like the humpback, use the same giant gulp trick as the blue whale. but they often work together with other whales to blow rings of bubbles around a group of fish first, trapping them in one spot before taking the big gulp. The blue whale mostly hunts alone, relying on its huge size and its huge mouth to do all the work by itself, without needing help from other whales at all. There is also a smart reason why the whale needs to eat this way instead of catching krill one at a time. Chasing down millions of tiny krill one by one would burn way more energy than the whale would ever get back from eating them. But by taking one giant gulp that catches thousands of krill all at once, the whale gets a massive amount of food for the energy it spends opening its mouth just one time. It is the most efficient way for an animal this big to get enough food from something this small. So the next time you picture a blue whale, do not just picture a giant animal swimming through the ocean. Picture a mouth built like a giant expanding bag, a built-in strainer instead of teeth, and a feeding trick so effective it lets the biggest animal that has ever lived survive almost entirely on food smaller than your pinky finger.